Want to be a topper in MBA entrance exams? Join BYJU'S Exam Prep, CAT and MBA YouTube channel and watch serial 99 percentiles teaching you the tips and tricks.
Good noon, all of you. A very good afternoon. I hope all of you are hale and hearty. Hi, Abhilasha. Good noon. Hello, Tanvi. Good afternoon. Good noon, Om. Good noon, Harry. Hello, Dharmi. Good afternoon. Right. So, how are you? How is the preparation going? How is the self-study going? Good noon, Harshal. Good afternoon, Amrit. Hello, Vicky. Good noon. Good afternoon, Rushi. So I hope that you have been studying from your end as well, because that's very important. I hope you are taking mocks very regularly. You are analyzing those mocks, right? Because at the end of the day, you have to sit in an exam. So you need to have a strategy for that exam, right? While you need to improve at various topics, you also need to work on your strategy. So for that, self-study and taking mocks, analyzing your mocks is very important. Okay. Good afternoon. All right, superb. That's amazing. That's a great response to hear, Rushi. Good, good. Keep it up. Good afternoon, all of you who have just joined us. Hello, Shaina, Manikandan, Rishikesh. Hi, Kashish, Rushi, Mamta, Harsh. Hello, Payal. Feeling lazy because of the weather, but isn't the weather always like this? When it's hot, we don't feel like studying, we feel lazy. When it's cold, oh, it's just too cold to study. When it's raining, it's such, beautiful romantic weather. Nobody wants to study at that time. The weather is always like that. I feel that. Good Valley afternoon, roosters. Hi, Tejas. Hello, Sonali. Hi, Kinjal. I welcome you all to this session, MAH CET Para Jumbles. And this is not just going to help you for MAH CET, this will be relevant for all your non-CAT exams, what we are going to do today. Okay, because we are going to look at some MCQ Para Jumbles, multiple choice questions, Para Jumbles. Right? Good noon, good afternoon. Okay, let's begin. Let's begin. So, now, again, what we have done here is I have taken into account the last year's exam as well and the years before that. So last year you had these normal para-jumble questions with 5 sentences and 5 options given to you, right? In previous years, however, of course, you have practiced various papers available, various memory-based papers. So you know that some unique MACT para-jumble questions have been asked. Something that we covered in our 4 topics 1 class session as well, right? So I am going to cover some questions of this type, that the type that were asked in last year, and 1 question of the previous year's type, right? Okay, so let's begin. Now, you've read the instructions, I hope. A number of sentences are given below, which, when properly sequenced, form a coherent paragraph. Choose the most logical order of sentences from the choices given to construct a coherent paragraph, right? So, nothing new in the instructions as such. Let's have a look at this question here. So now you can see that 1 and 6, they are given separately. So these sentences are in their correct position. You just have to arrange the middle 4, right? And you can see that you can gauge this through the options as well. Okay, so arrange the middle 4 sentences. Let's see what you say. The last option is B, C, A, D. Okay, so just attempt this. I'll address your queries. Don't worry. So you have to give me the answer. Don't forget that. Okay, Om has already answered and he says it should be E. Okay. Rishabh says B. Yogesh B. Tushar E. Pile B. Okay. So 4 B's and 3 E's. That's what I've got. 4 B's and 3 E's. Okay. 5 E's. 4 B's. All right, all right. So primarily the choice is between B and C. That's what you feel. Okay, I've got one D also now. All right. A and E are the same. Okay, that is by mistake. That is by mistake. Thank you for notifying this. Let's change this to BACD. Okay, changed. Sorry, my bad. I've changed A now. Okay, so now Vicky says A. All right, some of you say A now. Okay. All right, so let's look at the answer for this question. Now, so one of you has asked, are there any fixed number of words that cannot be used in the opening statement of para jumbles? We should not have any such assumption. Okay, why? Because while sometimes there is a very clear cut opening sentence, a very clear cut introduction, or let's say definition, or something that is of a more universal nature, a universal fact, something that's very generalized. So sometimes we do have such clear cut opening sentences. It is not necessary that your opening sentence will always be of this nature, will always be so clearly defined. Why? Because as I've told you, your paragraph could be a middle paragraph of an article also, no? So it could simply be continuing what was said earlier. It could be contradicting what was said earlier. So do not think, do not assume that there are, so for instance, a lot of students assume this, that but cannot be used as the opener for an opening sentence. You know, but cannot come in the opening sentence. Indeed cannot come in the opening sentence. Various contrasting words cannot come in the opening sentence. Don't hold such assumptions, because what if this paragraph is a contradiction of the previous paragraph, right? Okay, so here we were fortunate that the opening sentence was already given to us in its correct position. It says, whenever technology has flowered, it has put man's language developing skills into overdrive. So whenever technology has bloomed, flowered here means that basically grown, it has put man's language developing skills into overdrive, right? Now, technical terms are spilling. That means something is happening right now. That's why they are spilling into mainstream. The era of computers is no less. The era of computers is no less. Okay. So, we first mentioned a general fact that whenever technology blooms, this happens. And now I am giving a specific scenario, the era of computers. Okay. So it looks like that B should be the opening sentence, but let's read all the sentences before we form that judgment. From the wheel with its axle to the spinning wheel with its bobbins. So wheels with its axle, is it related to computers? From the wheels with its axle to the spinning wheel with its bobbins. Tell me, is this related to computers? Or is it a general invention that we are talking about, a general progress that we are talking about? So this is a very general progress discoveries that we are discussing. From the wheel with its axle, so earlier you used to have a wheel with an axle, then spinning wheel was discovered, to the spinning wheel with its bobbins, to the compact disc and its jewel box. Inventions have trailed new words in their wake. So is this related to computers, or is it a relatively more general sentence? Tell me quickly. And if yes, then where should it come? Where should it come? Waiting for your response. So, spinning wheel is not related to computers, isn't it? Then similarly, when I talk about the wheel, it is also a general thing. So this is general. This is not related to technology. So those who are placing it after B, let's say, Suddenly, after talking about the era of computers, will I talk about C? No. Okay, so actually, I wasn't very worried about A and E. That's why probably I made that mistake because uh, B is not something that will come after 1. C will come after 1. Okay, so first I talk about in general that okay, whenever technology has flowered, it has put man's language developing skills into overdrive. Then I give some general examples. Okay, from the wheel with its axle to the spinning wheel with its bobbins. I understand that we are talking about compact disc here, compact disc and its jewel box. Inventions have trailed new words in their wake, right? So the era of computers is no less. Now I will mention this. Then I'll talk about that how in the era of computers technical terms are spilling into mainstream language almost as fast as junk mail is slapped into our email boxes, right? And cyber slang. Now I'll talk about cyber slang. In fact, D and 6 form a very good connection. Yes, some slangs. So I'm talking about cyber slang and then only I'll talk about some slangs. So the answer should be B, Bangalore. Okay. I hope this makes sense. So CBAD is the answer here and not BCAD or BACD. Right, so that's why I made it our first question because here students do get confused. They think that because of the compact disc, this should be placed after the era of computers, but it also has some general inventions. So you cannot place it, let's say, after the computer discussion. You first go from general, then to specific. Okay. Uh, this is the structure of this paragraph. I hope this is clear. And now I am moving to the next question. So this was one question type where the first and the last sentence were fixed. You had to arrange the middle four. Effectively, this is a 4-sentence para jumble. Okay. And you get the additional help of the first and the last sentence. So it's a win-win situation. Now let's come to a 4-sentence para jumble without the help of the first and the last sentence. Right. So this I have included because there are certain words that might be new for you. Positivist organization, functionalism, right? However, please focus on making connections. Don't lose sight of the fact that you just have to arrange the sentences, you have to make connections. Let's see what you say here. From the options I know, A, C or D can be the opening sentences. Parochial means a very narrow-minded view of something. Parochial is narrow-minded. Let's see what you say. Okay, so I've got some responses. Anand says E. Then I've got a lot of D's then after that. And Rishikesh says B. All right. Good afternoon, Vivek. So very happy to see that you've marked quickly here. That means you have taken the help of options. Okay. Please do that. Whenever you are given choices, make use of those choices. Right? Um, However, okay, we'll see whether the answer is correct or not. So I've got E. I've got D and I got B, Bangalore, and also A. Okay, so I've got a lot of options. Basically, none of us feel that C should be the answer. I agree with you. C should not be the answer, right? So here, in rejecting the functionalism in positivist organization theory, fine, it's some theory. I'm rejecting the functionalism in that theory. Now, let's say I don't understand these words. It is okay. All right. As long as I'm able to get a broad sense of what I'm talking about. So we are rejecting something in theory, in a theory about organizations, how organizations perhaps should function. Okay. So in rejecting this in this theory, either wholly or partially, there is often a move towards a political model of organization theory. So when I reject functionalism, I am moving towards a political model, the political model of organization theory. Then I explain what this political model says, right? The political model holds that. It says that individual interests are perceived in organizational life through the exercise of power and influence. That, in an organization, the various employees, they are pursuing their individual interests. How? Through the power that they hold, the position and the power that comes with it. So this is explaining the political model. So don't you think that A should come before D? Yes. So how is D Delhi the answer then? A should come before D because I introduce the fact that we are moving towards a political model and then I explain this political model. So D is rejected. Okay. So now tell me, now that we've rejected we've rejected C and D, A, B and E. All right, all right. Towards the end, okay, Ankit has very strongly said that it should be A. Okay. Yes, Payal, when you do not have options, the foolproof approach to a para jumble question is to make mandatory pairs. If you're able to find an opening sentence easily, very good. If not, then start making mandatory pairs. Right? So let's have a look now. I think A and D is a mandatory pair because here I say that there is a move towards the political model and here I explain this political model. The other two sentences talk about what is going to be the impact of this shift to this political model. This talks about the impact and it has a thus. Okay. Then C talks about an extreme case in this model. So AD I think is a pair and I reject E also. So is it ADBC or ADCD? So if you see, introduced the political model, explained the political model, then I'll talk about the impact of this move, the impact of this shift. Thus, the analysis would shift to the power resources possessed by different groups. So earlier, I was probably concerned with the functions. Now I'm concerned with the power and influence. So the analysis would shift to the power resources possessed by different groups in the organization and the way they use these resources in actual power plays to shape the organizational structure. This is going to be the impact of this move. At the extreme, so extreme case mein kya hoga? What will happen in the extreme case? At the extreme, in one set of writings, the growth of administrators in the organization is held to be completely unrelated to the work to be done and to be caused totally by the political pursuit of self-interest. Okay, so when we go to this extreme of this model, the function does not matter at all. The work to be done does not matter at all. It's completely guided by the political pursuit of self-interest. Right? So it should be option A. Good. Those of you who have marked A as the answer, happy, because here the language was relatively more challenging. It's not something that you read in the newspapers every day. It's more academic. Okay. So good. Danny, Roosters, Shaina, Rishabh, Yogesh, Yogiraj, KK, Varun. And after that, just a second. Quite a few of you later answered A. Ankit, Bharti, Makarand, Pankaj, Disha, Om. All right. Prashant, Sanil, Mansi. Chalo, good. So great that a lot of you realize later on that the answer is A. This is also again, I would call it an easy to moderate question because there were connectors like a political model, the political model. There was this phrase thus, and there was also at the extreme, things that I've highlighted. They helped me, they guided me, these connectors. Okay? If you have any queries, you can always ask right in the middle. We'll stop. We can even go back. So please don't hesitate. I hope these two are clear to you. And yes, please go and like the session. Important for us. Okay. So we just ask this of you, nothing else, right? Just like the session, and if yes possible, please share it with your friends who are preparing for similar entrance exams or for MAH CET, of course. Right? So let's go to the next question now. Now we finally come to a 5-sentence para jumble. Okay. I hope all the options are visible to you. Let me just check. Attempt this. Let's see who answers this the fastest. Yes, this is that sort of a question where you can be speedy. Let's see what you say.
Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to boast about them.
Okay, I am sorry. After completing my homework, having completed my homework, I decided to call it a day. Both are correct. How is any one of these options better than the other? Uh, it depends on your focus actually. Just a second. After finishing my homework, I decided to call it a day. Having done my homework. Okay. So, Praveen, the difference is just on the focus of the speaker, the intent of the speaker. Grammatically, both are correct. Okay. When I say having completed my homework, it focuses on the fact of having done the homework. It focuses on the completion a little more, right? That because I had completed, that is why I called it a day. Having done this, having accomplished this, there's the sense of achievement. I called it a day. Whereas when I say after completing my homework, that focuses more on the sequence rather than the fact that you've accomplished something. So the difference is just on the focus. Grammatically, both are correct. Okay. All right. Earlier there was a message about UPSC. So for that, I think you can join our other channel, BYJU'S Exam Prep IAS. Okay. So UPSC, sorry. There you will get the guidance related to this. Okay. This is the channel for MBA. A, B, C, D. All right. A, B, C, D. More of D's. I think in the beginning I got more of D's. Then I got some C's. A couple of E's also I've got. Tell points. How to solve. Okay. Okay. Only E. Pankaj says B. Okay. All right. So let's have a look. We'll also see how to solve, as some of you are asking that. So if you see, there can be three things that can help you in making pairs. Theme-based clues, structure-based clues, and they overlap a little, and grammar-based clues. I hope whatever I'm writing is visible. Grammar-based clues. Now, if you see here, just on a quick scan of this paragraph, I realize there are three questions that have been asked. Yes. So, also the author says now notice the examples that I have used. So let me see if these three questions mention three different things. This is a structure based clue that I've picked up. The question answer structure. The question answer structure. Right. So I think that 1, 3 and 5 should come together. 1, 3 and 5 should come together. Right. Now, if you notice, they are relatively together here. Here they aren't. Here they aren't. Right. So B and C, that means they become suspicious. I should become suspicious of them. They become suspect. Sorry. Right. So now let's see. This 5 has or perhaps you've had. So definitely something can come before it. These two questions can probably come before it. Yes. So 5 is not the opening sentence, and fortunately it wasn't given as the opening sentence in any of my options. So let's read them. Now is the turn to read. Have you ever gone through a book that was so good you kept hugging yourself mentally as you read? Have you ever seen a play or motion picture that was so charming that you felt sheer delight as you watched? Or perhaps you've had a portion of pumpkin pie, light and airy and mildly flavored, and with a flaky, delicious crust that was the last word in gustatory enjoyment. right? So gustatory means related to eating. So related to taste actually. Okay, so my mouth is watering. Now, 1, 3, and 5. 5 should come probably after 1 and 3. That's the judgment that I have formed from this. So going by that, I can eliminate even A, right? So I am just left with D and E. The choice becomes so simple. Okay, now D and E were close options. Okay, D and E were close options, and you could have a hard time in deciding should 3 come first or should 1 come first. But there is a clue, and that is why I kept these two options. Okay, that is why, in fact, I added one of the options. So, if you see here, I talk about a book here, I talk about plays and movies here, and I talk about eating pumpkin pie here, right? Now notice the examples I have used. These three are examples. So of course, second should follow this. I have not spoken of books that grip you emotionally. Books comes first. Of plays and movies that keep you on the edge of your seat in surprise. Plays comes second, okay? Plays comes second. And or a food basically, sorry, not and, or a food that satisfies a ravenous hunger. So books first, plays and movies later, and food at last. Okay, so this person is following that very sequence in which the person had given examples, going in the order, and that is why it should be 1, 3, and 5, D, Delhi, and not E. So good, those of you who said D right in the beginning, I think Harry answered the fastest for this. Good, good, good. Quite a few of you said D right in the beginning. Impressed. D and E were confusing options. All right, all right. So, just a second. 4 talks about books first and then movies. Right, right, right. All right. So, are these sentences taken from word par made easy? No, no, they haven't been taken from word par made easy. They just happen to have these are high frequency words, right? That is why they have these words gustatory, ravenous. You know the meaning of ravenous, I think. Somebody who has a ravenous appetite. Hanumanji had a ravenous appetite, let's say. So this person is always very hungry. Voracious is a synonym, right? So ravenous means hungry, very hungry actually. Then gustatory. Gustatory, I just told you. What is it related to? Hmm. Gustatory enjoyment. If I talk about it's associated with our sense of taste actually. Our 5 senses. So gustatory is associated with our sense of taste. Good, good, good. The source of this parajumble, this is actually an IFT parajumble that I've modified. It came in IFT 2013, basically the IFT that happened in 2012 for the batch 2013-15. Okay, all right. Okay, then let's see some other questions that have been asked. Right. Meanwhile, let's come to the next question, and meanwhile I'll address some other questions that have been asked. So look at this again. This is again a 5-sentence parajumble. I've included more questions of this type because 5-sentence parajumbles are what came last year, right? So we need to practice this. Okay, attempt this. A very easy question considering the kind of questions that we have dealt with earlier, right? Very easy. Again, fastest fingers first can be done here. Vicky, in this sentence that you've written, I think had is something that can be skipped. Okay, so basically what you want to say is I missed my bus and that is why I could not reach the airport on time to see Ginny off. Right? So this had is not really required. There is a cause-effect relationship here. The sequence is not the focus, that first this happened and then that happened. Okay, so this had can really be skipped. Okay. All right, so I've got multiple responses now. Some of you've written the entire sequence also. Now, let's see. So stomach food, okay, gustatory is associated with the sense of taste. For practice, Rishikesh, what was your question? Sources, okay, all right. IIFT is another exam bhushan for Indian Institute of Foreign Trade. Who is expected to conduct CET this year? I have no idea. Okay. Now, E is the first answer that I got. Vicky gave it. Okay. After that, D. Sanil said D. All right. So let's have a look. Should it be D? Should it be E? Some of you also said C later on, right? So let's see what the answer should be. All these, okay, we'll find out what these means. So this is a grammar based clue for me, right? Earlier I showed you structure based clue, question answer, a series of questions. Now this is a grammar based clue that I am showing you. We'll also look at theme based clues, of course, right? So all these help Hassan download and optimize the farmer's usage of the internet within the available bandwidth. Okay. ITC has learned invaluable lessons from finding creative local solutions on the ground to some of these apparently intractable problems. Now, this gives the impression that probably some problems must have been mentioned in the later sentences, but when you read the later sentences, they don't mention any problems. They just talk about solutions, right? Solutions include it has applied this and this, it has also adopted this. So, one thing is clear, one thing that I just for the sequence that I formed in my mind while reading 5, 4, and 1. This you should have also formed. It has done this, it has also done this, and then all these, because I'm talking about a number of measures, right? So 5, 4, 1, let me see which option follows this. Okay, this one has it. This one has 3 in between. Okay, that's possible because I did not say that these are mandatory pairs. So 3 in between is possible. All right. Then 4, 5, 1, I don't think so. Then 5, 4, 3, 1, okay, possible. And this also possible. So this just helped me to a certain extent only to eliminate C. Yeah, it happens. Now, if you see, because the other sentences talk about solutions, and here I first mention the company that is actually implementing these solutions, and I talk about problems that have not been talked about later on. So probably second is the introductory sentence. Because earlier I must have talked about the problems, then I say ITC has implemented solutions to these problems, then I mention those solutions. है ना? So second मुझे लग रहा है introductory sentence है. So these two get eliminated. Now the choice comes to these two. Now if you see, this is also a solution, right? So it has done this, it has also done this, solutions include this. So don't you think that 2, 5, 4, 3, 1 makes sense? 2, 5, 4, 3 and 1. Okay, why 2, 5, 4, 3, 1 and why not this one? 2, 3, 5, 4, 1. Tell me. Because ITC has learnt invaluable lessons. It has applied. It is a pronoun grammar based clue. Okay, for ITC. It has also adopted this. Then I say solutions include the use of RNS kits in the telephone exchanges. Setting up, okay. Just a second. 2, 3, 5, 4, 1. Solutions on the ground. Okay. It is also adopted. All these help. Okay. So I think this should be, no, this should be E. This should be E. Okay, 2, 3, 5, 4, 1. 2, 3, 5, 4, 1. Right? Because I say that it has from finding creative solutions on the ground. So then I say solutions include this, solutions include this. Okay, the use of this. Then I say it has applied, it has also adopted, and then I say all these have helped. Okay, all these help to hasten. Because here I mention solutions and here I elaborate on these solutions. So 2 and then 3. I first mention solutions, then I elaborate on the solutions. Okay, then I say it has done this, it has also done this, and then I say all these help has. Does this make sense? Okay, a lot of chats in the chat box. I hope you're listening to me also and I'm not talking to myself. Yes, clear to everybody why E should be the answer and not D. Because I first mention solutions, then I elaborate on those solutions. Then I say it has applied and it has also applied. 5, 4 is a pair. And towards the end, I say 1. Okay? E is the answer. Yes. Okay, perfect. Right? So these two options were close. These two options were close. So in the previous question also we saw 2 close options and here also we saw 2 close options. Okay. So it's quite possible that we do get caught up between 2 close options. But again, the key is that we are able to realize that okay, which makes for a better pair. Now here it and ITC also made for a sequence for me. But I realized that okay, if I place 3 afterwards, no, it looked jarring, it looked awkward. So revision, when you revise your sequence, when you read your sentence, read your sentences in that order, that helps a lot. Okay. All right. So now, just a second, some queries in the chat box. Let me just see. For the sequence of incidents, we'll have to specify the missing bus first and then not able to reach, isn't it? Vicky, the way that sentence is phrased. So Vicky asked a question. I could not reach on time. I could not reach on time because I had missed the bus. Because I had missed the bus. Right. So my assertion is that this had here is optional. That's what I'm telling you. That the had is optional. Why? Because here the focus is on the cause-effect relationship. The focus is on the cause-effect relationship. So why could I not reach? Because I missed the bus. I had missed the bus makes it look like that this is a distant event. This is a relatively had is used to create that distance only, not to show that okay, this happened earlier in the past. That this is a relatively more distant event. Okay, I had missed the bus 2 hours earlier, let's say. That was the bus that I was supposed to catch. And therefore, let's say I could not reach on time. So there's only, let's say, if there's only, I'm just giving these as examples, okay? Don't think of it as a rule. Let's say there's only one bus that can help you reach the airport. That bus left at 2 p.m. So even though you are, let's say, supposed to reach the airport at 5 p.m., you could catch only that bus. Then because I had missed the bus, now you're looking at it from a distance. Because I had missed that bus, I could not reach on time. Then probably it makes sense if you want to create even more distance between your missing the bus and reaching on time. Otherwise, the focus here is not on the sequence, it's on the cause effect relationship. Right? That is why this had can be skipped. Hope this makes sense. Oh, okay. It has been taken from WordPar. All right. So IIFT then took it from WordPar. I took it from IIFT. All right. Exam date. किसको नहीं पता अभी तक exam dates? My God. Why do people? If you have been preparing for MAH CET sincerely, then you should know at least the exam dates, right? Roosters has answered it for you. I have to communicate with my parents. Yes, this is correct. I have to communicate something to my parents. Okay. So an object is required when you want to say to my parents, Nandraj. Okay. All right. We can design something on verbal reasoning, Bhumika. We can design something on that. Let me see if we have some sessions planned already. I'll get back. Difficulty level of English in CET is moderate, easy to moderate. It's not very difficult. Okay. For grammar, I can't give you a specific set of rules that you should know. You should be aware of various grammar rules. You should be aware of all the parts of speech, subject verb agreement, parallelism, modifiers, right? You should be aware of all of these, right? So, parts of speech, subject verb agreement, parallelism, modifiers, they are a must. You should know them, okay? All right, all right. Coming to yeah, okay. ठीक है, चलो. All right. Now coming to our option. Okay, so I hope you've liked the session already. I don't need to repeat this. So these were a few 5-sentence para jumbles, right? And coming to our next one, where can you practice para jumbles from? So this I have again, see, from where do I pick up some questions? So for instance, I told you I picked this up from IIFT. That means IIFT previous year papers have these. If you look at CAT previous year papers, no, let's say look at 2000, 2001 to 2008, even these have good parajumble questions. So you can practice from there, right? Then of course you have your MAH CET previous year memory based papers. So you can practice from here. Then when you attempt mocks, when you take sectional tests, you get some practice from there. When you attend these sessions, you get some practice from here. So collectively, I think that will be enough practice for parajumbles. Your previous year non-CAT papers, and CAT previous year papers from 2001 to 2008, उसके बाद से parajumbles non-MCQ हो गए. From 2016, they became non-MCQ, and the papers from for 9 to 15, they're not available. So various non-CAT papers. Okay, so IFT is readily available, ZAT is readily available, CAT is readily available, MAH CET PYSV memory based is available. So just practice from these sources, and I think you'll end up practicing so many parajumbles that it will be enough for the 4 or 5 that are going to come in your exam, right? Okay. So with books, my experience has been this. I personally think that I think Wiley's is fine, okay, for BARC. If you're taking CAT and non-CAT exams, then this is fine. Apart from this, I think the problem is that the various books available in the market for CAT are good, no doubt about it. But a lot of times the answers suggested are incorrect. Okay, so what happens is a student attempts an RC passage. ठीक है, RC passage भी अच्छा है, questions भी अच्छे हैं, but the answer given at the back is incorrect. So that just ruins the whole exercise. That's why I don't recommend other books. Okay. I left one question. Acha, oh sorry. Thank you for reminding me this. I didn't attempt that. We didn't attempt this. Sorry. Let's attempt this, and I am changing this option. BEDAC. Okay, I think I was a little lost while making this session. That's why this has happened, right? So all these options are different now. Yes. Let's have a look at this. Let me see what you say. Ma'am is not listening to anyone, is it? That's because I can only respond to a limited number of queries in one go. Okay. All right. B, C. Okay. What else? What else? Let's see. B or E, that's what you said earlier. Then later on, when I changed option E, you said B then. All right. Some of you are saying C later on. Okay. 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 So B or C. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. So again, there were some clues here. The inventory. What kind of inventory are we talking about? But being educated by photographs is not like being educated by older images drawn by hand. Okay. This very insatiability, that means I do talk about this insatiability somewhere else, perhaps. Right. So, if you see this, the inventory started in 1839, and since then, just about everything has been photographed, or so it seems. Just about everything has been photographed, or so it seems. So, don't you think that D should come before A? I'm not saying that it's a mandatory pair. I think D should come before it because D explains that everything since then has been photographed. So, this very insatiability, right? So, the moment I realize that D should come before A, that helps me to eliminate just one option. Okay, all right. Then, humankind lingers unregenerately in Plato's cave, still reveling its age-old habit in mere images of truth. In mere images of truth. So I am saying that humankind is not seeing the truth, but rather images of truth. Rather images of truth. That is what it is seeing. But being educated by these images, these photographs, is not like being educated by older images drawn by hand. Right. Probably the author is associating this with truth. So this is a theme-based clue. This is how theme-based clues look like. So the author is saying that humankind prefers to be educated by images rather than the actual truth. So photographs have been called these images, and older images drawn by hand have perhaps been compared to the truth. Theme-based clue. For one thing, there are a great many more images around claiming our attention. Okay, see this. Now, there is a very strong connection between this and D. There are a great many more photographs or images claiming our attention. Okay, बहुत सारी हैं, many more. The inventory actually, clicking of these pictures, the inventory of these images, the stock of these images started in 1839. Okay, so probably that is when the camera was invented. So B, then C, then D, all right, then A, and then E. So what should be our, just a second, एक minute. That option, have I not? Okay, it's here, no? Yeah, C is the option. C is the answer here. Yes, happy that some of you said C later on. Okay, sometimes you say things with such confidence that I start doubting. The answer मेरा ही तो गलत नहीं था. Yes. So I hope this makes sense to you. BCDAE. Why BCDAE? I have made mandatory pairs here. BC was a mandatory pair. CD was related. Many more images was related to the inventory. Then DA was related. We are photographing just about everything, right? And A talks about a change. I changes and then in teaching us a new visual code. Now we are talking about that change. Alter, new visual code. A and E. Any query, ask me. Any query, ask me. All right. Then I'm assuming that this is perfectly clear. And now we can actually move to our MAH CET type para jumble. I'm excited for this one. There are 6 sentences here. I am not giving you any options. You have to make the entire sequence. There is a vocabulary question based on it. There is a grammar question based on it. Okay. So, usually we first attempt these grammar and vocabulary questions, right? So let's do that again. So read this sentence once. I think it's important even for these vocabulary questions that you read all the sentences. That will give you context. Getting a context is important. So read these sentences, then let's attempt these vocab and grammar questions, or if you prefer, we can even make the sequence first. Because here we are going to attempt this. In the exam, you're going to decide whether you attempt it or not. ठीक है, बताओ क्या करना है. Let's make the sequence and then we can attempt the vocabulary and grammar question. Okay. All right. I'm waiting for your responses. I hope all of you are here and you've not started chatting among yourselves. While in that case, focus on making mandatory pairs when you feel that there are multiple opening and closing sentences. Himanshu, thank you. And how to find the opening and closing statement? You know this. I just told you how typical opening statements look like. Intro, definition, general statements. Typical closing statements, conclusion, summary, right? These are the typical ones. Sometimes it can even be an open-ended question. Okay, or a sort of a prediction, which comes under the nature of conclusion only. Okay. In Anushka, in CET, you can be asked 4-sentence para jumbles also, 5-sentence also, right? You can be asked this type of a para jumble also, which is a set of questions. So we are going to attempt a set of questions after this, once you've read this. So Rishabh, you're asking me. I'll not tell you right now. Let's see, let's see. Jackton, I think it's the name of a person. Okay, I've got my first sequence. Harry has answered. Others, what do you say? Then I'll reveal the answer. Okay, Vicky has also answered. Anushka, it could be anything. You could, these are clues. These are not types of parajumbles. One of you asked me, how to solve the parajumble. So I said hunt for grammar-based clues, theme-based clues, structure-based clues. Any paragraph can have any of these. So I've got a correct answer also now. Good, good, good. I'm happy that some of you are giving this a sincere shot. Now, let's discuss. Can we? So the correct sequence is DABFEC. The correct sequence is DABFEC. Okay, DA is a pair. Absolutely correct, Yogi Raj. DA is a pair. So Rishikesh has answered correctly. DABFEC. Good, good, good. I was just waiting for a correct answer. So the relationship between this is the topic sentence. Okay, when you asked me, you were absolutely right because the other sentences do talk about this relationship only. No, so this is a topic sentence, a typical topic sentence. The relationship between socialism and liberalism is magnetic. Okay, whatever is written later on, it is subject to debate. Dash pulling close, dash repelling. Okay, so now if you see, I'm talking about this relationship only here. When I say it operates in a force field, we talk about magnetic fields, right? So that is what has been discussed here. This relationship operates in a magnetic field or force field that marks not just the histories of political thought, that marks not just the histories of political thought and dash conflict, but the personal trajectories of the key heroes, the key protagonists of each, socialism and liberalism. So D and then A. A lot of you said D, B, and then A. So first I talk about the relationship, okay, that it is magnetic. Then I say that it operates in a force field, wherein we have different histories of political thought. Okay, we also, there is a conflict even in the personal trajectories also, right? Or there are different personal trajectories of its key heroes as well. Then I talk about proximity. So if you try to place them together near each other, that proximity has not always rendered the relationship less, let's say, controversial or in conflict, right? It has not made it less conflicted. Yet, so see, grammar based clue. Even though nearness hasn't always helped, yet attempts to transcend the differences, to overcome these differences, have never ceased. Yet these attempts have never ceased. People try to keep reconciling socialism and liberalism. Visions of market socialism, okay, market socialism are as old as industrial capitalism itself, okay, as if the disembedding of markets were a simultaneous spur. So now, even if you didn't understand this entire thing, if you see, we are talking about the past now. Visions of market capitalism are as old as market socialism are as old as industrial capitalism itself, as if the disembedding of markets were a simultaneous spur to imagining how they could be reintegrated. Okay, in the new world to which factory production and wage dependent labor gave rise. So I realized that, okay, this is in the past tense and this is in the past tense. They should come together. They should come together. And C says this was the moment of the crude conditions of capitalistic production. So I'm talking about some moment here, some particular moment. And that has been discussed here when we talked about disembedding the markets, reintegrating them in this new world where factory production and wage dependent was present. So E and then C. Do we get this? I hope all of you are still listening to me. Yes, Vicky, I saw this in your answer just a bit. I think E, the placement of E. Why E cannot be the opening sentence? Okay, because where do you place the relationship then? We are talking about this market socialism, industrial capitalism in the context of this relationship between socialism and liberalism. Okay, so if I place E first, then where do you place this discussion about the relationship? Tell me. DA, okay, got confused with the conclusion. All right. Good attempt. And you see, anybody who's even close here, that's a good attempt, because arranging a 6-sentence para jumble without options is actually a big deal. Okay, so that is why this question type is relatively challenging. If it comes in MAH CET in this form without options, okay, this is a challenging question type. If you are close, then also you should celebrate this fact. But in the exam, if you're not sure about the sequence and no options have been provided to you in such a question, my suggestion would be, of course, make a calculated guess, but don't waste unnecessary time on it. Okay. So which of the following sentences does not change its position even after rearrangement? I think now it's very easy to answer. The sequence is D, A, B, F, E, C. So which of the following does not change its position? So Makarand, which part did you not get? Because this is quite a long question. E, absolutely correct, Rishikesh. E is the answer. Which of the following words best fits in statement A? So what is statement A? It operates this one. It operates in a force field that marks not just the history of political thought and dash conflict, not just the, it operates in a magnetic field. I should have copied this statement. Wait, let me just copy this. Although some of you started answering. It's okay. Let me still copy it for the others. Right. Let's see what you say. D. Okay. E. All right. English section for 40 minutes approximately, Pile. If it's extremely lengthy, then 45 minutes, but not more than that. Not more than that. Okay. So a lot of you say legal conflict. These are political philosophies, socialism and liberalism. These are political philosophies. The word political is written here, isn't it? Would there be a legal conflict between them? The conflict between them is ideological. These are ideologies, no? These are belief systems, political belief systems. So it's an ideological difference. Which word matches ideological? Very good. Vicky, Sanil, Aarti, good. C is the answer here. Okay, some of you answered earlier also. Some of you said C earlier as well. So absolutely. Partisan. Partisan means when you show allegiance, when you show loyalty to a particular cause, a particular party, a particular ideology. Loyalty to a particular ideology. It's a partisan conflict. It's a negative word, partisan. Okay, I hope this makes sense. All right, all right. We're just about to wrap up. Last question. In statement D, last question. What is correct? I think you can answer this even without the sentence. Tell me. E, C, D, A, B, F. Okay. Then D. After E and C. I'll go back. So after this question, those who've understood everything, the sequence, they can leave, okay, because I think another session has also started. And those who haven't, they can stay and I'll arrange it in multiple sequences for you. And I'll show you which one is correct. Partisan, yes, supporting a particular group, correct. Would 6 minutes be enough? Okay, so there are 6. See, if let's say there are 6 to 7 questions based on this para jumble, then yes, you can of course take up to 7 minutes to solve it. You can take up to 7 minutes to solve it. This depends on the difficulty level of the para jumble also. Okay, it depends on the difficulty level. That's why I tell students that here make a decision whether you want to attempt the entire set, or you just want to see the vocabulary and grammar questions, and that's just about it. Okay, because if the language is difficult, if you feel that there aren't enough connectors, then I feel that you're better off attempting your RC passages. That's my feeling. Acha, there's no clash. All right, all right. ठीक है. So D, Delhi is the answer. Sometimes pulling close, at others repelling. Sometimes pulling close, at others repelling. So sometime, remember we did this in a class. Sometime. If I tell you, give me some time. Okay, give me some amount of time. Sometime means some amount of time. But I don't want to say this here, some amount of time pulling close. I want to say occasionally pulling close. Occasionally pulling close. So the word for that is sometimes. Okay, these are not two separate words. This is one single word. One single word. So sometimes, occasionally, pulling close, at another, no, at others, at other times. That's what I mean. At other times, repelling. So D, Delhi is the answer here. Okay? I hope this is clear to everybody. D is the answer. Just one more question. Which of the following sentences is third from the end? I just wanted to show you that such questions can also be asked. Otherwise, again, it's a very easy question when you know the sequence. Which of the sentences is third from the end? You can actually tell me that very easily. Just that in the exam, don't get confused and mark B as the answer. Okay? The answer is third from the end, F. Okay? All right, all right. So this was your para jumble. Now let's talk about the sequence, because this was a problem for 2 to 3 of you. Why can we not have this sequence? E, C, D, A and B. E, C, D, A, B and F. Right. So you are saying that let's place this part first. Okay. So market socialism. Market socialism is basically when you allow free markets also, you allow markets to operate, and socialism is that you're concerned with welfare also. So it's not like you give complete freedom to the buyers and sellers, okay, and it's not like you're just concerned about welfare, you're not concerned about profits at all. It's a mixed economy the way India is, right? So visions of market socialism, which combine socialism as well as the market economy, okay, they are as old as industrial capitalism itself. They are as old as capitalism itself. Capitalism is a political philosophy that focuses on profit maximization solely, right? So वो कह रहा है कि ये वाला जो vision है ना, this is as old as capitalism itself, as if the disembedding of markets were a simultaneous push to imagining how they could be reintegrated in the new world to which factory production and wage dependent labor gave rise. Okay, so the reality of the new world was there were factories, there were laborers who were dependent on wages. So you had to employ them, you had to have production. That means you had to have markets, right? So that is why, while capitalism might have dominated at that time, market socialism was also something that was envisioned from that time itself, right? This was the moment when all of these visions were happening. This was the moment of crude conditions of capitalistic production. उस टाइम पे बहुत बुरी हालत थी लेबर की. The conditions of labor were pathetic. Okay, so crude conditions of capitalistic production and the crude theories. So of course we were looking for solutions to this problem. We were trying to find solution to this problem. So the solutions also were relatively raw in their stage of formation that went with them, described by Engels, Frederick Engels, right? He was Marx's guru, Karl Marx's guru, that went with them, described by Engels in Socialism, Utopian and Scientific. So we are trying to give a historical perspective, okay, of how we have tried to integrate liberalism and socialism in the past. Now you must be thinking, liberalism kahan se aa gaya? What is liberalism? Giving freedom, maximum freedom. So when I say market socialism, having markets is a sign of freedom, that you're giving freedom to buyers and sellers to trade at the prices to maximize their profit. So when I talk about a market economy, that has an element of liberalism in it. So what we are discussing in E and C, and you asked a deep question, it's a good question. This is actually a theme-based thing. We are trying to figure out the roots, the historical roots of the relationship between liberalism and socialism, that we've always tried to relate the two. These visions are very old. We've tried to have something like market socialism. Freedom bhi hai, par welfare bhi hai. There's freedom also, there's welfare also. So you get it, that this has been talked about in the context of the relationship only. So I first have to talk about this issue, right? D is the topic sentence. D, A, B, F come together all in the present tense, and then E and C come, because E and C are simply explaining F, how we've tried to overcome the differences, how we've tried to relate the two since a lot of time. For a lot of time we have been doing that. These attempts have never ceased. ठीक है? I hope this makes sense and you were listening to me all the time, because I was not looking at the chat box. Okay. Spur is push. Push. Which one should we attempt first from a speed point of view, Sanil? So this choice you have to actually make in the exam. If the para jumble appears to be pretty easy, no, if you feel you can actually make this sequence, then I suggest that you attempt para jumbles first. If they are individual questions, then yes, definitely I would suggest going through the para jumbles first. Okay, if they are individual questions, the way we did the first 5 questions, and then going for RC passages. That would be my suggestion. Okay. If it's a set, then you have to make a choice. All right. Welcome, Harry. Welcome. I think Bhushan asked this, why can't he be the opening sentence? I hope I've addressed some of your queries here. Improving the speed, this occurs by practice. Okay. You have to, if you practice more and more para jumbles, you become better at them. You become speedier at them. And of course, always time yourself when you solve them. Okay. All right. So general queries about, let's say, strategy paper, these I'll solve in relatively more general sessions, okay? So please be a little patient, okay? And the answer for this question actually lies with you only. Whenever you feel that you're scoring low, just look at the why of it. Which area is a concern? Is speed a concern? Is strategy a concern? These are the limited concerns that are there in the exam, that are there in any mock. Strategy सही नहीं थी, speed सही नहीं थी, कोई area weak है. So just address these. Okay. All right. So I hope you enjoyed the session, and in case you did, please don't forget to like it, share it. These are our unstoppables of CAT 2021. We aim to produce even better results this year. Okay, in case you want to be a part of this journey, you can join us through this batch, right? It's not just for CAT, it's for all the non-CAT exams as well. And yes, this is the Telegram Doubts channel that you can join and stay connected with us. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Welcome.